Hi, hello, I'm Sugar, and this is my boss guide for Normal and Heroic, the Primal Council in Vault of the Incarnates. All 4 bosses are active at once, making this a cleave-heavy fight. Each boss has 2 to 3 unique abilities and 1 Convocation ability that comes into play after their defeat. I recommend using Hero on pull and burning all bosses evenly, they don't share health. Doing it this way will limit the time the raid has to deal with their convocations. For positioning, start the bosses at the top of the encounter area and rotate around as needed. The raid can maintain a 5-yard spread anytime they are not doing mechanics that would require soaking. It is possible to bait the Earthen Pillar mechanic by stacking, however the raid would need to move apart quickly to avoid spreading Conductive Mark. Do whichever will be easier for your team to achieve. Many of these mechanics come out at the same time or with quick overlaps, making this fight feel chaotic. Split the raid's DPS among the 4 bosses, assigning interrupt teams to Dathia Stormlash and Kadros Ice Wrath. On pull, these 2 frequently cast Frost Spike and Lightning Bolt. Constantly interrupt their cast to prevent the raid from taking excessive damage. They do not have a tank swap mechanic, however they do still need to be tanked. One tank should pick up Kadros and Opalfang, while the other grabs Dathia and Embar. Opalfang and Embar both have tank swap mechanics to handle, which I'll cover a little later. Shortly after pull, Opalfang will cast Earthen Pillar. Several of these will erupt near players, inflicting damage and knocking back anyone within 6 yards. These pillars are very important to counter other mechanics in the fight. They do not create line of sight issues but can box the raid in, forcing a move to a cleaner area. In Heroic, the pillars erupt with Quaking Pulse, dealing damage to the raid every 2 seconds until destroyed. These pillars are used to ground Dathia's Conductive Mark and can be destroyed by Embar's Meteor Axes. Dathia's Conductive Mark appears as a blue circle around several players. This can spread to anyone who comes within 5 yards of them, increasing in damage the longer it's on. Clear these quickly by running to an Earthen Pillar. Players should pre-spread before this comes out to prevent this mechanic from duplicating. A note to healers, players who are slow to remove this will need significant spot healing. Sometime after the Conductive Marks are cleared, Embar will cast Meteor Axes on 2 targets. These appear as big orange circles, each needing several players to help soak. They can also be immuned with bops, turtles, and ice blocks. One of these circles should always be used to destroy Earthen Pillars, while the other should stay near melee. In Heroic, players are unable to help soak this twice in 15 seconds. On expiration, this leaves behind Scorched Ground, which is used to counter Kadros' 100 energy ability, Primal Blizzard. When this is cast, the raid will be pulled towards Kadros and start gaining stacks of a debuff that increases frost damage taken but reduces fire damage taken. At 10 stacks, a player will become frozen in a frost tomb and need to be broken out or left to perish. To avoid this, players must dip into the Scorched Ground puddles to remove it. In Heroic, the puddles shrink quickly when players clear. I recommend dipping in around 6 to 7 stacks. While all this is happening, tanks will need to swap Opalfang and Embar. Opalfang's Crush inflicts a large burst of physical damage and increases physical damage taken by 100% per stack. Swapping after every Crush should keep the damage manageable. At 100 energy, Embar will cast Slashing Blaze at the tank, inflicting fire damage in a frontal cone and leaving a dot on all players hit. Try pointing this towards the edge of the room, and everyone else should make sure they don't get hit by it. While that's going on, Dathia will be casting Chain Lightning, targeting random players with a burst of damage that jumps to nearby players, spread out to lessen the damage taken. Lastly, I'll go over their Convocation Abilities that happen after their defeat. All of these deal raid-wide AoE of their own elemental flavor, but Kadros and Dathia have a unique ability as well. Dathia creates tornadoes that knock you up, and Kadros gives the raid stacks of Primal Blizzard that need to be cleared more frequently. While defeating them around the same time is ideal, your team may have to manage some of these for a time. Here's a TLDR for this fight. A link with all my boss guide TLDRs is in the description. I hope you found this helpful and good luck in there. Okay, bye!